Okay, so let's look in a little more detail about what actually gets recurred within the shift details as well. Let's go back and remove our volunteer so that we can go back in time a little bit, put them back in design mode, and then cancel. Are you sure? Means we get to remove them from that shift. So now we go back to our original 4 recurring shifts. We can see that the keyword, the title, the start date and time, the instructions glossary term is in there, the number of people and the rosters are currently published. Now, when we recur that, the exact information obviously recurs, including color, recurs for each of these shifts. So we can see this very small icon looks like a megaphone. And what that means is that the shift is being published. It's available for people to sign up for. So all of that then continues through for each of the recurred shifts. It's also interesting to note that when a shift is recurred in recurring series, this icon shows up um, uh, right here on the shift so we can see that. You'll notice the shift above is not a recurring shift. Therefore, there is no recurring shift icon there. So it's important to recognize that whatever the settings are, when you recur the original shift, those settings will continue through. And what's important about that is if I feel like I want to delete these additional shifts, I can multi-select. I can go to delete. Are you sure? And I'm able to go back in time. Now, this still shows as a recurring shift, but let's say we already have a volunteer who has agreed to do each of those shifts. If I add that volunteer, let's say Fred Flintstone has agreed to do those shifts. Now I can invite that person, whatever status they're in, that will be carried through in each of the recurrence. So let's see what that looks like now. We go back to the shift. And if we go to reset the recurrence now, let's continue with every Sunday for the same period of time. That volunteer and their state will also get recurred. In other words, if you have a volunteer that's agreed to do a particular shift and you recur them on the shift, they will recur each time you've decided to recur that shift. The same applies with any roster that you put on that shift. So when you recur, whatever settings are currently on that shift will recur throughout the series.